welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a Beyond the Summit presentation of Orange Esports versus Newbee here in the WPC Ace. This is Game 2 of their Best of 2 series. Orange not looking too hot tonight. They have lost 2 games to CIS, now 1 game to Newbee, and backs against the wall. They just want to take something out of tonight. But that being said, these are players that are familiar with psychological disadvantages. These are players that know how to play from behind, not only in the game, but outside of the game. And the evidence for that is because of last night. LGD, they took 1 game off of them. I believe they can at least get 1 more tonight, and I think they still have another best of 2 ahead of them as well. That one versus Vici Gaming, arguably an equally strong team with alongside Newbee, but still one that if they want to do their best to contest, we'll see something different. Anyways, we're going to see Orange Esports. They banned out the Batrider and the Lycan, allowing the Ancient Apparition through. Newbee snapped that one up. The Invoker, the Treant are their bans. So in turn, Orange is going to pick up the Sand King, the Mirana, very aggressive heroes for the early game stage, and that's really where their biggest problem has lied, as far as I can see. It's really about that early game. It's about momentum, and it's about the fact that during the laning stage, there's absolutely nothing that they can do. They've been completely run out of their lanes, they lose out on experience, they don't really feel to win more than 1 lane at a time for any of the games tonight, so that's what they're really looking for, is just to pull ahead and have an advantage at one point of the game, and maybe they can kind of follow through with it after the fact. Anyways, thanks for sticking with me here. It's pretty much an all-nighter for me, 6:30 in the morning at the moment, so I might be blabbering on about one thing or another a little bit too much, but hopefully you guys are enjoying the games at the very least. Once again, I am Blaze, happy to bring you guys this game and commentary, and hopefully we can get some more action out of this one. The last one was a little bit one-sided, a little bit of, I don't know, low hype. And it's not just me, obviously I can only bring so much hype in a solo cast, but along with that, the clashes just weren't that spectacular. Some good play from Newbee, some sloppy stuff from Orange, and although there was, I think, one fight that was really well contested, for the most part it was just a clear-cut, cut-and-dry type thing. Now we'll see the draft make it a little bit different, the Sand King, of course, being one of those heroes that can really, depending on how you play it, change the shape of the game entirely. So we'll see that early game Sand King movement, if he's going to be a jungle Sand King at level 3, trying to get that Blink Dagger as quickly as possible, if he's going to be a little bit more active, get some points on that Burrow Strike, and hit home with a couple of really powerful stun initiations. Anyways, banning things out, we see the Centaur taken off the board, as well the Enchantress and Ember Spirit. I think the Enchantress is a very smart ban, considering City C's repertoire for that kind of a hero. Sand King is much more of a Sharky hero, so City C picking up the Enchantress seemed to be completely reasonable. On top of that, they saw the Ember Spirit from Ysera last time around. They take that off the board as well.
Dire team pick.
Gonna see the Weaver band out as well. A kind of interesting hero to take off the board, considering they already have 2 very powerful stuns for themselves, but it's a nuisance to have to carry around detection all the time, so taking that off the table is pretty important. Along with that, of course, if they want to go for a low armor hero, maybe a Lifestealer to deal with all the magic output that Wraith King and Ancient Apparition are bringing earlier, something like that. But for right now, I think Mirana is just going to be a core hero. We've seen it in the offlane for Orange in the past. I'm sure Ysera is very confident in the hero as well, but almost every single time we see Mirana picked up by Orange, it's going to be in the hands of Sox. Looks like they're going to change things up a little bit. Pick up the Lifestealer, like I was mentioning, and that's why that Weaver band makes so much more sense. It's because of how much physical damage matters against Lifestealer, but they just snap up the Doom themselves, and they're going to be able to, in spite of the rage, put him as a rat in a cage, really. It's just not going to be a good time for him if the Doom can get some early movement, either Blink Dagger or just some good classic phase drums. And as always, Newbee has the option of running the Doom in a ton of different ways. Hopefully not in the Greed Doom, where you pick him up as essentially a 4th core in the jungle, but still one that brings a lot to the table with an early mech, early movement, early ultis. That's going to be what you're looking for. So they don't have as much mobility right now. Centaur was taken out, so they can't just jump into the fight until they get their Blink Daggers up on Wraith or Doom. But if the Orange tries to take the fight to them, they're going to be sorry they did in most cases, because Newbee was in their prime in their last game, and I'd expect some big things from their fights in this next one, making sure they bring detection for the Moonlight Shadow for the Sandstorm, and just fighting it out on their terms more so. Lich is going to be the next selection for Orange. I mean, if you have a hero that can be completely immune to magic for such an extensive duration, then adding in some ice armor on top of that will make it very difficult to bring him down. So I like the ice armor in general for their team. And of course, Lich brings a lot as far as lane control with Sacrifice and teamfight presence with the Chain Frost. And another thing I mentioned is that Newbee doesn't really have movement. They have the Scorched Earth, that's it. Otherwise they have no movement speed enhancements so far this game, and that means Chain Frost is going to be all the more effective if they pull themselves together. I'd actually love to see maybe like a mid Mirana and then a Darkseer for Winter. Just pulling people into the Chain Frost seems to be so much more effective. And then of course you have the Epicenter and Burrow Strike that's so much more effective when you have those clustered targets. But obviously it just depends on how they want to run the Mirana. If they want to put it as a offlane right clicker in the hands of Winter, then that's obviously going to be their choice to make. But the one thing that I do like about it is that it's a survivable option. Unless you're getting glimpse back or something like that, you're going to be relatively okay to play aggressively and leap back when you feel threatened. And worst comes to worst, they can run a tri-lane that'll keep control of the opposite side of the map so that you get a little bit space created for yourself.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
So I'm going to go into the final ban phase and we'll see what we have here. But for now, here's to take off the board against Newbee. It's a tough call, really. I mean, they've got flexible situations with this Rubik Ancient Apparition. They've got two great core heroes, potentially, from Doom and Wraith King. I guess you would ban out a solo laner just in case Doom wanted to take mid, but I would say Puck. Puck is probably the best ban. A Blink Silence or a Blink Sheep going against Nakes is really potent, and then of course the Dream Coil setting up the Ice Blast. So Orange agrees with me, Winter agrees with me. He's going to take the Fairy Dragon off the board, and that will... Oh, Darkseer as well. Man, I'm calling it this time around. We'll see if it... Orange Esports actually flinches from this one, though, or if Winter just picks up what he already had in mind. So, 40 seconds remain, and we're going to be seeing in just a few moments here the final hero for Orange. Is it going to be a Winter hero? Is it going to be an offlaner running the Mirana as a mid?
10 seconds remaining.
I don't know. So it's a tough call. From this position, you don't want to pick up something with too good of spells to steal, so Magnus seems off the table. The Darkseer obviously just got banned out, which would have been my favorite option. It's going to go Winter Clockwork on the offlane here. The Furion didn't work out so well. They didn't even bother banning it out, so he's just going to go ahead and say, I want aggression. So Clockwork is going to be the hero to select, and he is one of those heroes that can deal with tough situations pretty effectively. The problem is he's up against a Rubik. And the great thing about Rubik in a 3 versus 1 setting against Clock is although he prefers to block the creeps back behind the tower as much as possible to control Creequilibrium, if he goes out from beyond his tower at all, he's going to be pressured, a quick stun from the Wraith King, and he's going to be forced to pop Cogs. So if he pops Cogs, you send the Telekinesis and rip him right out of him. So that, of course, sets up Cold Feet, and the chain of order of operations is there. So there is a lot of problems for Clockwork on the offlane against Rubik, but if Winter is really good about controlling the creeps and kind of putting them in that little nook on the Dire side, that's going to be the most important thing. In the meantime, if they can get in close proximity to an opponent, maybe pick off an Ancient Apparition before he gets an Ice Blast off, there's a lot of potentially really cool things that they can have in store for themselves. Final selection coming up for Newbee as well. Like I said, the Puck was a really good option for a solo mid, but there are plenty of heroes still on the table. There are plenty that we actually haven't seen recently. If you're trying to find something that's really good against a lifesteal, though, the Templar Assassin is always something to bring into the table. I wouldn't recommend a Shadow Fiend just because you are against a Clockwork, but the Wind Ranger is a fun little pick here. Now, is this going to be a... I mean, I don't think Ancient Apparition's core, so I guess it is going to be a mid Wind Ranger. And that's going to be pretty interesting. Oh, offlane Wind Ranger with Shadow 8 on the mid Doom is also possible, but Moo's picking it up. So I'll put my faith in Moo and see him in the mid lane on the Ginger. So this should be pretty interesting. I actually really like this setup of Shackle, obviously a very powerful disable in its own right, and on top of that you have mobility for the first time instead of just Scorched Earth. You can wind run away from that Chain Frost, pull it out of the fight, and feel confident. Winter, ganking on the Wind Ranger, still has a hard time because she's going to be getting a very early Force Staff, and when it comes down to the late game up against the Lifestealer, that new Agadim Scepter might come into play, where you can go for the Focus Fire on your target and dish out physical damage left and right.
Remaining.
And the last thing Soxus wants to have to worry about is going defensively up against this team. I mean, he's already under pressure because of Zhao Weight's Doom. Physical damage on top of that can get pretty scary. So, going into Game 2 of this Best of 2 series in the WPC Ace League. Thank you guys so much for joining me once again here on Beyond the Summit. And now going into the two sides, we're going to be looking at Newbee first, looking at Zhao Wei picking up the Doom. We're going to be seeing, I believe that's Sansheng? Yeah, sorry, the characters threw me off for a second there, but Sansheng on the Rubik. That'll leave Hao to play on the Wraith King. We do have here Banana to play on the Ancient Apparition, and finally that is Mu on the Wind Ranger. So that's it for the Radiant. Looking over at the Dire side, some pretty predictable lanes, but still important to go over them nevertheless. We do see Orange. They're going to be running Winter on the Clockwork, Sox on the Lifestealer, safe lane carry. There's going to be a solo mid Mirana played by Sarah. And then supporting cast will be Insidious C on the Sand King. Actually, surprised it's Insidious, but we are going to be seeing Sharky play on the Lich. So, they didn't have the option to pick up the Enchantress. They didn't feel the Chen was an appropriate alternative, so we're just going to go ahead and put Insidious C on the SK. And there is a lot of potential. And like I said, Insidious C is a great hero to initiate things with, to control with AoE abilities.
Begins.
And we'll see if he can make his mark here. Starting off with Boots first. It's a build that requires your other support to pick up a lot of items. In this case, Sharky has to pick up things like the Observer and the Courier, as well as maybe Sentry Smoke. We see no Smoke purchased, and I don't believe any Sentries either, so they're just going to forgo the Sentry Smoke, pick up only Courier Observer, and give Ysera more space on this mid lane. It's going to be Mu versus Ysera, with Insidious C lurking in the shadows. But in the meantime, we're going to be seeing an aggressive tri-lane come out for Newbee, and that's a little bit different than expected. There's a lot of potential here with control, as I was talking about when I was talking about different ways to kill off Winter. None of them are really great against a Rage from the Lifestealer, but it is a long cooldown. 19 seconds, only a 3-second duration at level 1, so should feel pretty confident going up against their opponents unless they perfectly chain their stuns. In the meantime, just some movement back and forth. It's going to be Zhao Wei to pick up the Hellbear Smasher's Thunderclap and go ahead and farm and pull this easy camp here. So just trying to deny some experience for Winter before he goes toe-to-toe with them, and that'll give him a nice boost once he actually meets him face-to-face. Burst Strike skill on Sand King, Insidious C looking for the flank to gank. Mu, oh, face tanking an arrow, but it doesn't do that much damage, not that much stun. Still, Sand King goes in and hits the Burrow Strike. Wind Run on cooldown, this could be First Blood. The last right clicks, but an uphill miss. Can they get him? Last one, and Ysera will spill it. First Blood goes to Orange this time around. I think that might be their first Blood of the night. Haven't been taking full track of that. Either way, Doom gonna get mana burn here by the cogs on bottom lane. Already has a limited mana pool as it is and wants to devour as much as possible, so that kind of hurts. In the meantime, Courier movement, smart micro from Ysera, making sure that it won't be picked off. If they came in from this flank and picked off the little pigman, that wouldn't have been a good thing at all. Now some body blocks coming in. They already started with the Frost Blast, looking for the open wounds. Can Sox get in range? Will be able to open wounds them at least. Frost Blast is there as well. Now damaging onto Wraith King. There's nowhere for him to run. So this is going to be 2 kills in favor of Orange. And that is a start that we're in desperate need of in this kind of a setting. Now though, the counter pressure comes through. Level 1 Rubik and AA. Can the Chilling Touch and do enough work here? It looks like it will. Big right clicks, easy TK, and Sharky will fall. Down on bottom, stalking again. Insidious C looking for a new opening. And this is an essentially out of mana Doom. He has... Oh, actually... back and forth between these two, but Wind Run coming off cooldown. Looks like just some trading hits. Anyways, yeah, enough for Scorched Earth, but that's about it. Doom gonna be under some pressure here for sure. And if the creeps hit this tower, then he can just walk in with a battery assault and bring him to about half HP without even getting the auto attack in. So Winter actually in a pretty good position with Insidious C here. They're going to go for the flank. If they can just get the cogs. Right now, Xiao 8 should be dead. But Scorchers will come out early. It's a lot of HP regen. And Winter's just going to back off and wait it out. As soon as that spell effect is gone, Insidious C should be having an easy pick off here. In fact, yeah, Xiao 8's far too pushed out. But the creep wave is right on top of Winter. Battery Assault mitigated, and nice hiding place from the Sand King. Still will walk out in the end as they know Doom is heading out to the jungle. And it ends up being a bit of a waste of time. Courier bringing out Moo's bottle here is going to be able to spam out that power shot a little bit more.
Denied.
But holding on to his next skill point, that's pretty interesting. I'm not sure if there's much benefit to that, but I figure you're always going to go for Shackle Shot after 1 Point Wonder and Wind Run and max the power shot when you can. He definitely maxed the power shot, but he's still holding on to that one skill point. I guess just in case he feels he needs that second in Wind Run. Anyways, he might need to use it here. Insidious C gonna be putting some pressure out, but he has the Observer Ward vision. They go for the Burrow Strike into the arrow. Big damage coming onto Moo, and it looks like he will fall. The Wind Run, not enough as the Starstorm hits for the second time. So, now bringing Wind Ranger down multiple times over. This is the momentum they were looking for. This is how they can actually pull ahead in this matchup, where they were so behind because they couldn't get their feet underneath them last time around. Now they are taking control of the game, and you love to see Orange back in form and not just rolling over like it seemed to be the case. So now Sox gets more space on the lane. Not building up phase boots all that quickly, but at least able to handle creeps pretty well with this Quelling Blade. They do have 1 point in Chilling Touch. Looking for an opening. Lifestealer does not have enough mana for Rage, but he has the Magic Stick, so essentially they cast 3 spells. He's right back up there. Moo still lacking the boots of speed, but has plenty of HP and mana regen. We'll see if he can actually acquire the 6-minute rune this time around, or if he's going to be pressured by Orange once again. For now, we see the lane continuously pulled back on the top, just making sure that Sox can continuously farm safely, where they can't really put too much pressure out on him, even with all these stuns. And Sacrifice, of course, gives a nice stimulus of experience to Orange's heroes as well. And now we see the Moonlight Shadow. I'm actually kind of surprised he didn't sacrifice there, but that has absolutely no bearing on what's going to happen in mid in just a moment. Moo, very close play, but still gets hit by the Burrow into arrow. TP response, will it be enough? Moo drops low, the Rocket Flare is not going to finish the job, and they are scared off by the Rubik. But while Rubik TPs away, up top lane, they're here to play. Sox open wounds onto How, he's going to be dropped down. He buys the Gloves of Haste, but I think it was a millisecond after he died, so not going to be losing out on the unreliable gold, or possibly. Hard to call, but we're going to see the arrow fly out. Observer Ward should get a good perspective on that, and honestly, it wasn't really, unless he was walking right here, it wouldn't have even hit anyways, so. In the end, not going to be making much of an impact, but they don't need to fish for those hard arrows to actually come back in this game. They're perfectly fine with just some stable play, some good rotations from the City C, and just kind of breathing new life into this aggressive lineup. Bottle Crow again for Ysera. Didn't get the 6-minute rune here. That's going to have been picked up by the Rubik most recently, just scouting out with these illusions.
Dire's
Still not
top
using that
tower
sacrifice
is
that
under
actively.
attack.
I don't know if he's waiting for mana to be expended or what, but in my opinion, sacrifice is essentially a spell that you use on cooldown as long as it's not in range of opponents to obtain that experience. So now he's going to drop it, gets himself to level 5, closing in very quickly on level 6, while Sox finishes off his phase. So I'm curious to see the build-up on the Wraith King. He seems to be doing the best for the side of Newbee next to the Doom, who of course is just outpacing everybody with that
Radiant's
Devour.
top
We're going to be
tower
seeing
is
Doom
under
go for the
attack.
Arcane Mech build, that's no surprise.
Radiant
But
structures
the
are
Wraith King has a
fortified.
few avenues he can take. Does he want to go for Blink Initiation and of the ability to dodge out the Chain Frost if it's not on cooldown? Does he want to go for hard damage with things like Armlet, with things like Desolator, or the durability of BKB? I mean, that's a very, very important item for him, but he might be able to delay it until item number 2 or 3. Aggressive stance from Sox. Xiao 8 has the Doom, but they don't really have the slow and lockdown. They have the ensnare, they have the cold feet, but that alone might not be enough. And they're hesitant to just drop those kinds of cooldowns willy-nilly. It's a lot of mana to be expended on the Doom. He only has 588. One spell costs 150, the other another 150. So, good thing he has the Arcane Boots, otherwise that would be pretty much his entire mana pool. Briefly back over to CS. It's kind of a Christmas tree up until about midway through. Sox, though, not leading the charge as much as you'd hope. He was pressured a little bit by an early aggressive tri lane, but it seems like that's kind of broken, and he still hasn't fully resurged in his farming momentum. In the meantime, Winter doing extremely well this game. It's kind of a contrast where when one does well, the other does not, but when Winter gets the space created for him, he's able to farm quite extensively, and is able to find 41 CS for himself, picking up the phase boots, maybe going into blade mail, maybe looking in for something with a little bit more utility. In the meantime, stocking up on Ysera. He has that leap and regen rune though, so this cluster of 4 heroes really won't amount to too much in most cases. Especially if you look at the warding right now. Dire have this careful observer ward placing so that they can see anybody coming in from the top of the steps, and the same thing can be said for the Radiant. Newbee also on the ball with that one. Now plenty of space created for Sox. He's going to be moving in towards his next big thing. No Midas this game, it would seem, but he will be picking up either drums or armlet at a pretty good pace. The problem is he's probably going to go down here. No ensnare. This time now it's a War Stomp, but just a simple Doom and it should be enough. He'll pop the Rage, still gets caught in a bad spot, and there's no way that he can infest anywhere. So he'll go on the run, but in the end he will be lifted up, and that is going to be a nice clean kill for AA. So, Ancient Apparition moving in towards Aghadim's long term. Does have almost enough experience for that level 6, but on the bottom lane, pop and reincarnate possibly? No, they're not going to commit. The hookshot was available, but creeps were kind of fudging the numbers on that potential kill. They end up just letting it slide, and now we look at runes. Bottom rune spawn, Ysera popping the regen, throwing at the arrow. No, not even bothering. They're going to control the haste rune down bottom. Winter will pick that up for himself, and they have a lot of kill potential now available on him. He's got the ice armor, he's willing to go aggressive, and even with this observer ward in place, you still got to watch this guy. If he lands the hook, if he predicts things appropriately, anybody on the lane is got to be worried about their positioning. In the meantime, it looks like Wraith King will be opting for that Midas. Could be a Maelstrom Mjolnir, but I don't prefer that build when he's going to be under so much pressure from these heroes. Still, it really comes down to what he wants to do. And, I mean, it definitely increases his farming speed, increasing the attack speed, and getting some good lightning procs on the occasion. Winter really biding his time here, looking for an opportunity. The hookshot is available on Mu and in range, but he needs somebody else to follow through. If he goes in, it's just an easy rotation and somebody else falls. Instead, he's going to go ahead and TP to the top lane. He expects some movement against the Lifestealer, and so he's going to be there to respond. Again, haste rune available, looking for some counter initiation. There is going to be the ensnare. Now the Doom. 3 TPs. The Power Rangers are coming in. Ice Blast coming through, but a nice hook, nice cogs, and it should be only one casualty of war. Winter pulled back in, sacrificing himself for the greater good. Lifestealer will walk away. Still, the Moonlight Shadow kind of wasted there. They didn't necessarily get anything out of that invisibility. Sox will, however, just pop the infest, heal himself back up to full, and look to defend on the top tier 1. Fortification is available, but Newbee just have some presence here. Even without the Doom, they're really willing to commit to a fight. And Sand King's going to have to show them the error of their ways, looking for that Epi Blink combo in just a moment. So, graphs are evening out for the most part. A little bit of experience in favor of orange, but doesn't amount to too much here. It really comes down to these next subsequent team fights. We are going to be looking at Sand King looking for the initiation follow-through after Winter lands a hook. And as far as vision goes, they have a pretty good idea of the enemy's position to look for those opportunities. It just is going to be on Insidious C to keep close to Winter, find the best time for that to work out. But another thing to indicate is that it's not just Epi Blink that Insidious C has enabled. Just a simple Blink Burrow Strike is enough to set up an arrow. So if he sees a 2v1 opening against somebody on the mid lane, him and Ysera alone can really make things happen. Unfortunately, Ysera is just outside the range of the smoke to see. They pop it a little early, so it's only going to be these three under the guys. Walking under the observer ward, Ysera essentially by himself, and they have to think, what is this guy doing based on these movements? But now he'll walk back towards the mid lane. Insidious C gets the observer ward out. This is a great spot for them. A huge Epi potentially, but Winter misses the hook. It's going to be Sox to engage first. Epi coming out. Onto 2. Burrow Strike as well. Huge damage, and they are dropping HP, but Mechanism comes out. The Ice Blast in turn. Sand King's the first to fall, followed quickly by Winter. They still get the Doom, but at what cost? Too much coming in. Now the Shackle Shot available. Chain Frost coming out, bouncing back and forth. Oh, they're clustered up. Rubik will finally pull it away, but once he gets to steal, an arrow right into the face of Ysera, who's cold-feeted and shackled up. He will drop down. They lost the AA, but a triple for Moo. Now looking for more. They get the Wraith King kill and are looking for the Life Stealer. Won't be able to finish him off. He's a little too quick on his feet, but what a hell of a fight for Newbee. Turning it around, despite the fact that they were under pressure from an Epicenter, as well as a multi-bounce Chain Frost. They took a pretty big hit, but they responded in kind, and most of it is due to this mechanism. If they don't get the mech out, they don't win that fight in any capacity, because they just die too quickly. But they turned it around pretty well, and I gotta say that they're pretty happy about how that played out. I'm curious if the hook hit from Winter, if that fight would have been any different, but guess we'll never know unless somebody goes for the replay takeover. Anyways, we're gonna see here that Wraith King is still looking to make use of that Reincarnate. Didn't drop down last fight, and obviously didn't have the mana for it either. So, and he's just gonna mana back up and look for the next opening. Sox up on top. The fortification is gonna be expended, but I think he still has his tower pretty well settled. Now look, don't get greedy. Just go for the tower, is my opinion. But now they're just gonna get hit by the Ice Blast, and it might arrow or the leap away will be perfectly fine. And in fact, the last right click from Mirana will finish their job. So, one way or another, they get the kill on the tower on top. Now Winter closing in on Moo in the mid. Nice Blink Burrow, follow through, and Clockwork receives a well-deserved kill. 424 for the Wind Ranger pick, since she was on a killing spree there. Leap actually stolen from Rubik and immediately used, just to get out of a little bit of a difficult position. You consider his movement speed, 340. When Sox activates Phase Boots, he's running 441, so some significant advantage there.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Without a couple of escape maneuvers, this would be a difficult position for them. Happy back off CD. Keeping back in, it's going to be Howe looking for an opportunity of his own. Still, the team is a little bit scattered. Doom doesn't really see a great target. In fact, Winter, it could easily close in on him with the battery cell. Like, Doom will come through, but Winter's not an easy hero to kill. The Ice Blast is going to have to connect, and connected does not! Actually very painful here, but the last level death, he's going to get denied. Allied hero denial coming in from Sox, and that is going to make it so nothing. I mean, that doesn't really make anything happen. They have to wait out the 80-second cooldown. That's annoying for Zhao 8, but of course, Winter dying, spending his unreliable on Force Staff before that happens, I believe. Epicenter gonna come in, no burrow at all. Now gonna be a steal of the Epicenter. He tries to channel it in their face, but takes too much damage from the Mirana, from the Lich. Nice shock shot coming through onto 2. Is it gonna be enough to turn this one back around? International gets the Ice Blast off at the last second, infesting inside a creep. Get to the creep, Sox. Has to wait it out. Can't break the infest until that's gone. Now he will heal the full. And they have the Blink Burrow coming back up. Pops it just on 1, though. Xiao 8 gonna take some big hits, but dodges out the arrow. And another missed hook. Looking for the cogs. They pull back in. How inside the cogs. Xiao 8 taking some hits. He should fall here. Burrow Strike gonna come up and finish the job. They're trying to win run to give him some space. Not gonna happen here, and they're just gonna have to retreat. Reincarnate 2. Gonna pop off. Yep, but arrow. Burn out. Cogs with the steal, though. Interesting back and forth fight. A lot better for Orange, though, this time around. They got some good movement, and although there was an awkward start, the fact that they killed off the Rubik and they made the Ice Blast pretty much irrelevant put them back in a commanding position there. Still, Newbee tries to push in for the tier 1 and gets a fortification out of that, at the very least. Now stealing off the Sacred Arrow, throws it at a creep.
That was terrible.
Easy cash money. So we do see 1,500 gold advantage going in for Orange this time around. This is the first time they've had a significant lead that they've been able to hold. Now going in, City C with the Burrow Strike. The arrow will throw the needle. And now Wraith King's under some pressure. No Reincarnate if they focus him, but the focus instead is on the big man up front. Xiao Wei throws out the Doom. Nukes come through, and that's the death of the Lifestealer. Now Winter being pulled out of his own cogs, but doing some good damage with the battery assault. With the rocket, is it enough? They kill off one, but they throw Winter under the bus in the process. They really wanted those kills. If only the Chain Frost was off cooldown sooner, but as you can see, rank 1 is a hefty CD. Ice Armor stolen, actually really good for Newbee to have that available. It seems like a measly spell, but spamming that out on heroes like Doom, they get a lot of effective HP out of it. So, the fight taken by Newbee, and they pull ahead for the most part. They're still not at the top of the charts for net worth, but they are the 3 spots subsequent. Sanji and Yasha build for Lifestealer, and just try to stay on target as much as possible. And I mean, you get the increased attack speed from the Yasha that will allow you to tear through this Doom's HP. The Wraith King also pretty tanky at 1,500. Those are definitely things you want to proc your passive as many times as possible against. He's actually maxing his feast over the open wounds, and I don't complain about that decision at all. Getting just against these higher HP targets, it's so valuable. And of course, when you fight Wraith King for the second time around, he's always on full HP. You're getting the most out of it, even at that time. Looking for another smoke. It's on the Lich. Getting some Ice Armor up, and the question is where they'll go. Are they going to go for a gank, a Roche play? Looks like it could be either. But finally they're making their move towards the Radiant Jungle.
Vanish.
Moonlight Shadow popped off post-smoke, just in case it does dispel. It looks like Moo's going to be the target of choice. This should be a pretty easy pick for them. Winter with the hook, as available, throws it out, and she is locked down 100%. Easy pickings against Moo. They're going to take the tier 1 sub right after the fact, and that is going to be putting some much-needed points on the board for them as well. Still, Ice Armor being spammed out. It's harder to stay on target against these guys. And a TP coming in. Wraith King wants to contest this with the Reincarnate. Now we see the Doom onto the Lifestealer. Big damage coming out, but they haven't gotten really great steals. The Chain Frost doing some work on the back end. Now pursuing onto Ysera. Moo wants this kill. The Ice Blast is afflicting him, but the Power Shot, not enough. Not fast enough. Now we see Winter dropping down to the Wraith King. Didn't even have to use his ultimate, as they just blatantly ignored him, knowing it was available. So in the end, they lose the Lich and the Clockwork, and they only got the Wind Ranger, but they did get her buyback. Wind Ranger comes back into it, tries to seal the deal on the Mirana, but no avail.
Is under attack.
Picking up the Haste Rune, keeping things up and kicking. And Shox is back to farming, looking for the Yasha part of the
is under attack.
Sarah probably looking for a Manta style. Could go for the Lincolns. I don't think that would be bad. It's definitely the SEA Dota thing to do. Looking for just ways to nullify that single target. But as we can see, the Force Staff is already up on Wind Ranger, so you can use that to pop a Lincolns before the Shackle Shot if he doesn't feel threatened. And of course, it's really good against Clockwork if he does. So we're going to be seeing some favorable gold movement for Newbee. They have the Wraith King and the Doom filling up the charts, but one thing I have to mention is that a lot of that is artificial increases. It's not like I've been farming like crazy and I'm doing extremely well. I'm not saying that their farm is bad at 100 CS, but some of that gold advantage is from Midas, some of that gold advantage is from Devour, which has been maxed out. So there's a lot of artificial gold floating about, and it's just kind of the thing that you expect at this stage. If they were behind in gold, that would be a severe concern. And I would say that's only a team fight or two away, with Sand King in such an aggressive position, with a good Lich ulti, only a couple clicks away. For now, we're going to see Lifestealer split push in the mid lane, finish off that tier 1. Winter looking for the opening. They're going to go hard onto Wraith King, top of the Reincarnate very early in the fight. It's only an Ice Blast onto 0, actually. Turning around, big epicenter following through. The Chain Frost bouncing like crazy. They're all dropping so low. Oh my goodness. Dropping banana. Dropping the Rubik. Oh my goodness. That was such a good frost. Now the arrow. Moo dodges it with the haste. Winter looking for an opportunity, but the Force Staff is still on CD. He gets shackled up, and Moo should be able to get out of this. But even still, they certainly won that fight.
Radiant's top
Now,
tower
the lifesteal did get picked pretty early, but just the Force Staff away from the Ice Blast, and then them immediately going hard on their opponents. They're able to bounce back and forth a lot of their abilities, get a lot of AoE magic damage, and pull ahead in that and engage. So they'll be able to take this tier 1 tower on the back of that. No fort, only 250 HP. No problem at all.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
It is but a scratch in the City of Sea. He'll drop low, but he's not going to drop down with any more damage. And Rubik, of course, still doesn't have Rocket Flare any longer.
Do it with flair.
So looking at item progression here, we're going to be seeing a deny on the tower down bottom by Mirana. She's going to be picking up the Lincoln Sphere in just about 700 gold. Not too shabby. Doom picks up the BKB, but that's only really going to help him. Like, the team-wide utility build, I like to see like a mech and a pipe combined together because it would help a lot. But right here, he's just worried about getting hit by the Burrow Strike and the Arrow. The lockdown that those bring, he needs the BKB more so. So he doesn't want to be caught like a fish in a barrel. He wants to be able to kind of have some breathing room, move about, and strut his right-click damage, keep that Scorched Earth rolling. So BKB is a really good pickup in general. It's just that he's essentially just got to make sure that he stays on target, because right now, just walking around with 130 damage, a Doom, it's only going to do so much. You see a nice little pickoff here as the Blink Wraith King comes through. Moo will essentially disjoint that Chain Frost, nullifying it from existence. Sharky under huge amounts of pressure, but could you just go for the Force Staff TP? No, the Wraith Fire Blast comes out too soon.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
It takes a while to bring him down because of this nice little ice armor here, but in the end he will fall and his tower with him. So How picks up a double kill. In the meantime, it's going to be Ysera to push out on the mid. Double TP. You want to keep it up? Face arrow because you can. And we'll just easily retreat. So one thing I want to highlight on real quick is that the vision is kind of stifled for Orange for the moment. Right now they have a Dire Observer ward here, and they have one in the mid lane, which is going to expire in about a minute and a half. So they have some generally good idea of where people are moving from the mid tier 2 and the bottom tier 2. But if people smoke up in a safe area, if they go up the top lane to try to put pressure on the Dire jungle, there is still plenty of avenues of attack for Newbee. On the other hand, Newbee, they're very aggressive in their warding. They just placed one here to try to cover up the Ancients a little bit, double stacked at the moment. They have this mid ward here, which will cover any good movement pre-Moonlight Shadow. Obviously, post-Moonlight Shadow, not going to work unless they drop a sentry in the lane as well. Finally, we do have this Observer ward here. It's been a while, but it is up on this
incoming
top rune spawn. So Winter scouted out Sand King. They know about him too. They know about his stacks. They know where he's been. But the question is whether or not they can do anything about it. Right now it's a 10k net worth Wraith King, level 14, but a lot of that invested in the Blink and still no BKB. Unless it's going to be a Desolator, which I wouldn't mind either.
Radiant's top tower
Considering right now
attack.
Orange haven't put much into focusing him. Like there's been one fight where they've actually focused him, and that was only because it was the most convenient target. Anyways, he can go either way. BKB, of course, would make sure that his initial life would be that much more substantial, but the Desolator would help out the mid to late game Wind Ranger right click, along with a little bit from the Doom. Speaking of Wind Ranger, stocking up 2,400 gold, but it's just going to be an Ultimate Orb. Sheepstick for Moo. Obviously, Sheepstick's an incredible item. Really good pickup for him, but you just want to see that Ags. That's the only thing. Ags Crystallis. That sounds fun. Oh well, not going to be seen here, at least not for a while. It's going to be a long haul to try to get to that Scythe of Ice. Stack coming out once again. Good spot for Lifesteal Farm, but at the same time, this Observer Ward. Great opportunity to counter-initiate if they smoke up at the right place. Smoke it a seed on the Courier, same thing with that Ulti Orb. But if they head out now, it probably will take too long. They have plenty of time to burst down on these Ancients, clean it up, easy gold, but here they come. They can't really hard initiate Winter. All he has to do is cogs on the stairs right here. We'll see if he can do it quickly enough. They do have a Dire Observer Ward right there, but Winter's not in position. Now, looking for the hook. Can he keep his allies alive? There's going to be a chain frost, but Mu immediately stops it. And now Xiao pops the BKB in the front line. Winter, great cogs, better Force Staff underneath his tower. Another Force Staff to keep him up. Now, Newbee forced to dive in a position they really don't want to. And Orange make a great response to the Great Escape. They don't fully finish off the Ancient Stack, but getting out with their lives is even more important. There was, however, pickoff. Lich gets sniped by a power shot on the back end. Wraith King setting it up with the Wraith Fire Blast after Blink Dagger. So, those two together, finding a nice little snipe. Should be enough for the tier 2, but eyes on Wraith, the Sand King, as he's got 2 points in Epi and a Nyx inside. Nyx Bomb indeed. Gonna start off with the Burrow Strike just onto Mu. Can he get out in time? Force Staff away. Now he can re-engage with the Epicenter in just 7 seconds. Ice Blast first though, and Ysera's gonna get hit, not by the blast, but by the Wraith Fire. So, gonna try to retreat out, won't be shattering, no ulti, but here's that Epicenter coming in Insidious-C, evaporating the Rubik. Now Winter gets crit in the face, more stuns flowing. Xiao will get hit up by the arrow, but not in any real danger. Stock's actually in jeopardy. Magic Stick is available, Blink Stun, oh, close call, but the rage lasts long enough, and now it's gonna be a Wraith King to be on retreat. We're gonna see Sand King pick off Ancient Apparition on the back end here, great Blink Burrow, but can they finish off How to boot? Shackle will fly. Onto 2. Oh, big damage coming into Insidious-C. Amazing Shackle from Mu. And now, Hao's finishing the job. Winter pops off the hookshot is enough to bring down Wraith King for good. But can they get any more? Force Staff away. There's the open wounds. Even the Blink will not save you, Zhao. He has to pop the BKB. But with no TP scroll, that might not be enough. The main proc. Greater main from the Sanjin Yasha. 15% RNGG. They're able to clean him up. And now, looking for Mu. Shackle again onto Ysera, onto Sharky. But Mu in a desperate position. Force Staff in 2. Is it enough? Force Staff's out. And away he goes. Rocket Flare. No, it's not going to be enough. They cannot chase him down. They've separated their forces. And he is gone. Oh, brutal. Brutal to lose out on that kill. Brutal to get turned around on so hard, but in the end, a very action-packed fight. The tier 2 did fall by the hands of Newbee. Wraith King, the big hero to pick off. Was that a spree ended? I'm not too sure. I would presume so. He was doing really good prior to that. 7, 3, and 6, his current KDA. Still, the Star Observer ward setting up Rubik for the easy kill. And I just want to see more wards like this. They ping it out, of course. They're just going to get centured immediately. But for now, that was well worth an easy kill. So this ward is going to expire. This ward has plenty of time on it. And this one's about to be taken off the board. But as a whole, it's definitely just getting more kill momentum and putting Orange in the driver's seat in this game. You see the gold. Wow, look at that. It's oscillating. It's an oscillating gold graph, up and down and up and down. Experience is a little less frantic, but even more decidedly in Orange's court. Roche has respawned. No negative armor on the side of Orange, though, so it would be a long one to go for. Sand King builds up his Force Staff post-blink, now looking for Veil. If they get Veil, my goodness, are they going to have a hell of a team fight. Like, there is the BKB up on 2. Wraith King and Doom have both picked up their BKBs, and well worth it to have that value item purchase. But at the same time, the targets that aren't being immune to magic, even if they have a Null Field, which is currently only rank 1 anyways, if they get hit by a full Epicenter with Veil up, maybe a Burrow, maybe an Infest, that's the game. Not the game for as a whole, but the game for them. Wow, we're getting some lag on my perspective of the server. I'm not sure if it's happening for the players as well. They're in a LAN environment, so they're pretty close in proximity with what Perfect World's got going on, but hopefully it's not too disruptive. The stream looks okay at least. We do see the Blink Burrow, the Infest, onto Wraith King, gonna get the first kill handily, but respawning with this BKB. Let's see if they can try to turn it around. Pops the BKB immediately, Doom out onto Socks. Not going to be able to feast away. Instead, under a lot of pressure. We're going to see some damage to bring down Winter. Ysera trying to finish off Rubik, but a Chain Frost steal onto Sharky, now onto Marana, and they're retreating out. They were able to bring down the Lifestealer on the Eastern Front with a Blink Stun, and now we see Xiao 8 getting very aggressive here. Moonlight Shadow to retreat, but the damage is done, and Roche might be the spoils of this war. Going in hard. Right-clicking away with this crit maxed out. I think they can do it. The Epicenter is here, though, and they have to be careful. No vision, just the power shot, providing them some awareness of what's going on, but not enough. Arrow to fly on Zhao. Are they going to go in for it? Oh, good move from Hao, actually like that, just to make sure that he wasn't going in for the Epi. He goes in, blinks, and is ready to stun him to cancel the channel. Since most would have taken that arrow opportunity as a sign to go. But they're being patient. The arrow will fly once more. Let's see if they can get anything out of it. Arrow onto How. Ice Blast onto Insidious, though. He cannot now blink. Force Staff available, Burrow Strike available, but no Blink Dagger, and the Roche will drop. Aegis on, the Wraith King. 3 lives for him. Insidious on the run. And the dust wasted. So now things looking really good for Newbee. They're going to bring the experience graph back, and that just means a level playing field as far as skills go. And do they still have Chain Frost? No, they have Sandstorm now. Rubik didn't die though, so he actually could have hung on to the Chain Frost, but felt at the time that Sandstorm might be a little more valuable. Or maybe he's trying to get Burrow, and the second that the spell steal finished, he immediately cast the spell. Just make sure that he could get it off in time. Whatever happens, he no longer has the Lich ultimate. That's solely in the hands of Mr. Frost here, Sharky. And the game continues. Aegis up on Wraith King. A little greedy to go for 3 lives on one hero, but he certainly does make an impact on these fights. These non-stop Wraith Fire blasts, he certainly has a mana pool to support it, and now he's got that Desolator up. So, in a strong position here to try to just jump the gun and beat down on his opposition. I'll never understand you guys' Twitch chat. Gonna see Lifestealer moving in towards most likely a Heart of Tarrasque. Still possibly a Satanic, but doesn't seem that good since Doom nullifies Lifesteal. Sheepstick now finished up for Wind Ranger, probably the big pickup of the game. Like this is like Desolator's good, but Sheep is huge. Getting the Hex out on whoever they choose is going to be completely game changing if they can follow it up with a Shackle Shot as well. I mean, right now they take a free tier 2. They've got a 3.5 second Hex, followed by a 3.75 second Shackle that can actually affect 2 heroes at a time. Absolutely incredible. The Disable is strong with this one, and it just comes down to move, landing these skill shots, finding the opening, making the right target priorities, and of course them subsequently not clustering up too much, because Insidious C is just waiting for an opportunity, waiting for an excuse to knock some Richter scales off a little bit. So Sox actually has lost a lot of momentum. The lack of Midas, the fact that Lifestealer doesn't really have any great flash farming utility, it has really hurt him long term. We see that although he's running around constantly at least 441 MS, that he hasn't really been able to keep up as far as overall farm. Arrow, not really mattering too much. But yeah, like we see just in general Newbee, they've got a 2-kill advantage, but they've got a hell of a lot of towers under their belt. And they do have a small CS lead as well. Wind Ranger doing surprisingly good on CS, farming up quite significantly, but only just going to buy out a gem and TP. Blink in, Jowate looks like he wants an opening on Winter, but he's just going to Force Staff himself out, and oh, level death! Oh man, if the Doom had vision, Winter should die there, because they do have a great flank with this Wraith King here. But didn't work out that way. He's going to be able to get out of dodge, and will regroup with his allies to try to make a play happen very shortly. Now, in 175 gold, actually they upped the cost, so I shouldn't say that, about 200 gold, BKB is going to be coming out for Winter, and that's going to be a pretty big pickup for him too. Is it the first BKB? Indeed it is. So Winter, a lot more fearless and jumping in aggressively.
Dire's top tower
No Blade Mill or anything like that, but like I said, there are already 2 BKB heroes on the side of Newbee. Gonna go ahead and take down this tier 2. The Ice Armor helps, but only helps so much.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
However, it is good buying time for Sox to try to finish off on this mid. If he finishes this up, he's gonna be dangerously close to a Heart of Tarrasque.
Dire's top tower
and that's gonna be where things get very difficult for Newbee to deal with. Like, they've been dooming the lifesteal every time, but if he lasts through that doom and comes out with like half HP, he is just gonna go ham on his opponents. That Winter jumping in, Cogs will come, BKB, start things off. There's BKB on both of them, so Doom not taking much damage either. We're looking for the Chain Frost, bouncing out a little bit, but not really accomplishing too much here. Shao8 walks away. Nothing from the Sand King. He actually gets picked off on the back end. Tried to go for a hard flank, but he didn't smoke himself up. So he walks in, gets picked off, and the Ancient Apparition will completely ruin their attempt. He tried to go for a very aggressive flank in these trees here, Now going to buy back and looking for that epi. TPing to the front line. We see big damage coming out on Moo. Will he fall? One more right click and he dropped. They pop the Doom on Ysera. He probably will drop this fight, but the Cogs. The Cogs coming out from Rubik, dropping some of Insidious's potential damage from that epicenter. Now coming in, Sox pretty much can run rampant through this lineup. Like, they've exhausted all their cooldowns. He pops the drums, he pops the phase. The Lifestealer, the race car, is in action. Revving up his Ferrari, he is pursuing on Zhao, and with a couple more right clicks, that is going to be another clean kill. So, I think the Wraith King gets out because of Blink Dagger, but that's really all that he has to offer. And Winter might even look for the hook, though doesn't have the Observer Ward vision and ends up going for the wrong vector here. So, Epicenter wasn't used to its fullest because of some great Rubik Cogs, but in general, I just feel they committed too much to Mirana. Mirana has Lincoln, she has MKB, she hits hard, and she is technically the top of Orange's net worth, but you let this Lifestealer roam free. The one thing they have avoided this entire game is letting Lifestealer get out of control, and now they had absolutely nothing to handle him. Everything on cooldown, and from there he was able to just absolutely decimate them, and of course the buyback from NCDC was pretty instrumental in making that happen. So Orange make the high ground defense. I think they pull ahead as far as that specific skirmish, and
Boom,
it just
there
costs
it
them one
goes.
buyback from a hero that has almost everything he needs. Tarask finished on Lifestealer, able to hit really hard right now, over 220 damage, and takes a lot of resources to kill him. Desolator AC is a good start though. I mean, that's negative 12 armor, so when the Lifestealer is only running 10 right now, he's actually going to be taking beyond pure damage. He's going to be taking an amplified form of physical damage. Beyond that, not much to mention. It's just going to come down to the clashes once again. Both teams raring to go for the next fight,
Rock it on.
but it comes down to positioning. Before, Zhao was in a very aggressive position. Luckily, he had that BKB to keep him up and swinging, despite being cogged in under the tower. Very tanky fellow here. But later on, they're able to kind of get a little bit more control, get the initiation they're looking for, and they have a lot of threat from multiple heroes. Like the spellcasts from the Lich and the Sand King are very potent right now, and along with that, Mirana and the Lifestealer both deliver whopping helpings of physical output. We'll see Roche spawn relatively soon. In just about 40 seconds, we're going to learn how soon that will be. Double damage room for Wind Ranger, going to bottle that up, and that could be huge in the next fight. I mean, right now she's running 140 base damage, so she's going to be actually at 300 damage when she pops that DD. So, gold graph leveling out, experience graph in favor of Orange. It's just fun to look at these. Like, the fact that it's been bouncing back and forth, the fact that one team has the lead, then loses it, then gains it, then loses it. These team fights have been really close in almost all cases. It's never been a 100-0 clean sweep victory. Now we're going to see initiation, though. And Jai does have that blink. Winter, not really the target they want, and if he pops that haste rune, it's home free for him. So they're just going to go for an easier target. We'll see if they can catch him. Doom comes out on Sox, but they're going to need more. They need to get in range for the Hex, and I think they will. Ice Blast, Frozen Ammunition from the Ancient Apparition hits on Sox. He's a pig, but he does get forced out, and that might be enough to keep him up. Blink in from Zhao, but he doesn't have Disable. Winter with some great cogs, and Sox is home free. Wraithfire Blast onto Sharky. Some big crits coming through, and Sharky is almost gone. That ice armor keeping him up for the moment, and now the Wraithfire Blast to seal the deal. No force staff for you. Back of the line. They are able to pick up a kill for their trouble, but again, this is a pretty important cooldown in the Doom. Respawn time for Roche is going to be about 1 minute and 10 seconds more, so for now, they don't have to be worried about anybody picking up a freebie. Shivas comes out once again. They use the level death to pop the Lincolns and send Ysera packing. Veil of Discord coming out for the Sand King. Pretty big pickup for them, as he does a little dance here. Song name? Actually, that's not the Sandstorm animation. That's the getting hooked by stuff animation, getting stunned and stuff. Anyways, he's having some fun, being the Scorpion King. Scouting out Roche once again, but we still got about 15 seconds on it, maybe. Just a little bit over. Anyways, right now I kind of feel like positive armor will go a long way for Orange's lineup. Picking up a Vlad's or AC of their own would be a really big deal. For now, though, Clockwork has this plate mail, and we'll see if Winter can approach either the AC or the Shivas. Arrow actually bullseyes on Roche the moment he spawns. Gotta be a headache for him. It's bad enough that everybody's after his Lucky Charms, but the fact that he, upon respawn, gets wrecked, it's salt in the wound. So DD Rune forced out Wind Ranger. He didn't want to pop it off, but in the end, he has no choice. 2 minutes is the longest you can carry those runes up, and he is just going to be not able to take advantage of that precious double damage. Winter has the Infest inside him, looking for the opening, charging in with this 9-second BKB available. Who will he find? Smokes the spell from both sides. Xiao Wei's the first they go on, and the arrow connects. This guy is gone. Right-clicking away, he will fall before he gets a single spell off, and now it's all on Wraith King. The Sheep onto Winter, not the best allocation of their resources, and with a cog away, it looks like they just got a full success. In fact, a double burrow coming in from the Sand King. Chain Frost just onto 1, now bouncing to 2. Mu going to take some big hits here, and he will fall. Hopefully we'll proc on Ysera, but the Burrow Strike is coming off CD. Burrow onto Rubik, seals the deal. He's going to drop down as well, and that is going to be an easy Roche immediately after the fact. 4 kills in their favor. They can even take the tier 2 and then Roche anyways. But it looks like they'll play it safe. They'll go for the Roche outright, and that guarantees this nice juicy Aegis on whoever they desire.
Just what are you hiding?
A very, very good fight for Orange. This is exactly what they're looking for. They didn't even need the Epi or the Veil for it. They got them scattered. They started on the Doom. He doesn't pop anything. No BKB, Shivas, Mech, or ulti. He just drops, and that cost them dearly. They put so much emphasis on that hero making the plays happen, and in the end, Malaysian Dota triumphing as Orange take the kill advantage, take the Roche advantage. That Aegis now in the hands of Lifestealer.
To the dire.
And he even gets the Desolator on top of that.
Rock it on.
Word comes out, scouting out Wraith King. Have to watch out for that blink, but luckily Lich is quick on his feet. 405 MS with the Tranquil Boots. He can get out of most bad situations pretty conveniently. I like the Hex on the Wind Ranger, and Mu certainly has been using it every fight, but the Force Staffs almost make it seem inconsequential. The first time they used it, they Force Staffed the Lifestealer away, and I think they still got a pick off, but not the one they were looking for. Along with that, using the Sheep that time around on Winter after he had already blown every single spell he had, I just can't say that that's really the most efficient way to bring it in. They just wanted to find a kill, instead they end up getting turned around on because they're pursuing something that's just going to get away anyways. So, Force Staff, really good item. Very effective in counterplaying against newbies. Lineup for the moment. And you can look over this Ancient Apparition and see that there's something different about him compared to all the Ancient Apparitions we've seen this evening. He is not working towards an Aghanim Scepter. He's not going to have one for a very, very long time. Has the Force Staff, has the Ghost Scepter. Can survive through a few Lifestealer right clicks, but that's about it. Geometry Sight was on the Courier, now being brought out to the Wind Ranger. We'll see if she can actually get some map control based on that. Tire ward here, and of course on the Ancient Spawn. It's actually not easy wards to scout out. You're not going to be running out in this direction very frequently unless you're already smoked up to try to gank in the Dire jungle. Speaking of ganking in the Radiant jungle with the Smoke of Deceit, they have the Moonlight Shadow to follow through with, but there is nobody just yet. A full wraparound. Gank is the name of the game. They're going to be going in from the rear, and this could be devastating if Winter gets a good hook off. But the Rocket Flare scouts this out entirely. They know what direction that came from. They're blinking in to try to counter-initiate, and that Rocket Flare was a little awkward. Winter sees a target. He is invis. They have a gem on Wind Ranger, though. Is Mu going to get close enough? If he scouts out Winter, this could start off completely on the wrong foot. Mu just has to walk a little bit closer, and there it is! He pops the BKB, though. They infest. No, the crits! Sox is now all by himself, sheeped up. They can't even force him out. He's crit as well. Loses the Aegis immediately. What an unfortunate turn of events. They rage out, get hit by the Doom, though, and I think they might still have enough to follow through, coming into double burrow, but they'll just take the easy Sand King pick. And even now, Lich is having the TP. Sox on the run. The Radiant Observer sees him, and I think the blinks are enough to pursue. You get a blink Force Staff Wind Ranger, and she's going to be chasing you, that's for sure. But seems like that they're going to give up the hunt a little early. Look for objective-based Dota instead. Jeez, could not have not started worse. Mu walking right in. He did get the BKB off, but damn, that SK hits hard. Wraith King with MKB, Desolator, AC. You don't mess with this guy. You just don't. He hits like a truck, and with a couple of good consecutive crits, with that being only a 15% chance, the fact that he got 2 Mortal Strikes in there is pretty OP. But as it is, it was just Winter not responding to the fact they had a gem very well. He gets picked. Lifestealer gets picked off once and feeds the Aegis away, unfortunately. Now Rubik is actually infested inside Wraith King. That's a cute little play. You actually can see his little staff here, the gel. So he's just kind of has a little fan, I don't know, hanging out with him. But when he blinks in for the kill, he's going to have a little bit of extra oomph with that maxed out infest. And he can pretty much sit here all day. He can infest a host as long as he wants to, as far as I know. I actually haven't tested the interaction of when spell still expires and you're still in somebody, but actually, I don't know. I guess he has to let you out, otherwise you don't have a consume button to take you away. That would be silly. You'd have to wait for your ally to die.
Incoming!
Anywho, me jabbering on. It's 7:30 in the morning. What do you want from me, guys? Anyways, Aghanim's is being progressed towards by Sharky. We're going to be seeing that work very well with the Veil of Discord. I mean, if you can get them clustered together, that thing just bounced like crazy. It can be insane. But not as good in competitive as it is in pubs. They're probably only going to let it bounce to like a 5 or 6 value anyways. In my opinion, a Chain Frost that bounces 10 times is a win of itself. But there's obviously weird little things you can do with magic immune neutrals and such. Looking over the BKB charges, we do see it's only 6 seconds left for the Doom, but they're going to jump in. Completely destroys the Sand King. They just saw things a little bit too quickly. I think the pick really will hurt them because Sand King has already bought back once this game, so he does not have the money to do it once again. 168 gold is what he requires to come back into the game, and in the meantime, they're happy to just batter down on this tier 3. It is, yeah, given the ice armor, and that's going to help out a little bit, but still the Dezo AC is chewing right through that. Tier 3 dropping low, a couple more right clicks, and it is gone. The Sand King's still gone for 30.
Dyer's middle tower has been
so going for the racks, it is ice armored up as well, but they could blink initiate at any time, and it's going to be on the BKB Clockwork. Infest out, Force Staff almost to the low ground, but now they're actually pretty susceptible to the hook. Yeah, no Force Staff, easy arrows. Gonna see how picked off first, but Xiao 8 pops the BKB, throws out the Shivas. Sox has the Lincoln Sphere. What did he pop? I think just the level death. Now going in, big damage coming out on Sharky. Look at that crit, 11-24, bringing him down, and now Sox is lifted up. But he won't be able to finish it off just yet. Here's the epicenter, Veil and Burrow on to 2, bringing down the Rubik. Now move falls. Sarah will bite the dust in the process, getting stunned, getting crit, and Winter locks himself in a cage for a quick moment. Now Wraith King is the one who is held hostage, but just going to throw out a stun and make his way away. Xiao 8 pursuing with the Sentry Ward onto Insidious Sea. 3 seconds on Burrow Strike. Open wounds onto Xiao, but it's going to be Winter to lock down Xiao 8 here. Sandstorm away from the Wraithfire Blast, and Xiao 8 is fodder for them. In fact, they're multitasking. They go kill the Doom, now onto Wraith. But this is a raid boss. This guy's got 2 lives. Phase 1 down. Let's look at Phase 2. Are they going to go for the arrow? They can't even walk away from the arrow. Oh, the crits on Winter. Right-clicking him down. Finally, they will bring down Wraith King. Oh, no! No! The crit, the lifesteal, and he brings down 2 with his last fleeting moments. The raid boss takes a few with him. No loot for you. Man. Take another Clockwork, taking down the Sand King. They don't have Ghost Scepters or anything like that, so you underestimate his damage, he's going to make you pay. But they finally do bring him down, and he's down for the count. 80 seconds since he is a level 25 hero. Jeez. This Wraith King. Quite an impressive hero to have at this stage in the game. That's crit scales so well, the life steal naturally. Where does he go from here? Obviously, rebuying the BKB is still to be taken into consideration. That's only a 4-second duration after all. Beyond that, the BOTs, and then I guess you turn the Blink Dagger into, not a rapier, but like an Abyssal Blade. You get an Abyssal Blade out, you control the Lifestealer so much more effectively. And then obviously you get your 6-item Refresher, because you got a ball out of control. But, you know, sometimes 2 Reincarnates isn't enough. You gotta get Ankh, you gotta get refresher. Do what you can. We will see Ice Blast used just for split push. Again, the impotence of a level 15 AA without an Ags. But Banana's just doing what he can. What the? Sentry wards. Apparently, Wraith King doesn't need items. He bought 14 sentries for the Ancient Apparition. He's like, I'm tired of being juked by Sandstorm. I'm tired of missing kills on the Sand King. I'm tired of Moonlight Shadow. Get that shit out of here. So as soon as they lose the Geometry Sight, he's like, here, take all the sentries you need. Paper the map with them. Don't give them any wards at all. And just detect everything. So that's his instructions. We'll see how to a T he's able to follow those. But as far as that Abyssal Blade race, it looks like Sox might pull ahead. He's got his Basher already, and if he wants to buy out for it, does have the gold for Abyssal. Better safe to just kind of keep it as is, though. But in the end, a long duration physical disable could be completely game breaking. The fact that they do have the BKB on How, and of course the Rage State on Lifestealer. Whoever gets that Abyssal Blade on the right target could completely turn a fight around. And dropping the sentries. He's doing as instructed. He's really taking care of this. It's like, oh, I can't buy a gem. Well, I'll be your gem. You could wait a minute and a half. In the meantime, have all the sentries you could possibly need. And yeah, they have map control, at least in their own side of the map, and that's pretty good. But if you look at it, they've actually missed every Observer Ward. Like, they know where Observer Wards aren't, but they still haven't found where they actually are. So, one at Bottom Rune, one on Ancient Spawn. Now Wraith King trying to pursue, but Sharky looks to get away scot-free. So, an interesting position for a very interesting game. This has gone to 55 minutes, but I've enjoyed every second of it. My vocal cords not so much, out of water since like the 20-minute mark, but happy to be able to just cough up a lung for this kind of action. This is just really, really active between the two teams, and you never know who's going to crit next, who's going to be getting that next little pick. We've seen some great plays from Insidious C's Sand King, as well, that the carry potential from both sides is quite substantial. Neither team is really slated to lose. The only disadvantage Orange really sees right now is the mid racks having been taken down. But even still, they have the experience favor. We'll see if they can put it to use before things start moving in towards full level 25. Immediately scouting out the Roche. This is their time to shine. Critting away at Roshan very abruptly. AC and Desolator once again. Winter can get some scout out, and I think they're going to make their move. Sand King has the infested Lifestealer inside, but can he actually get to the pit in time? It doesn't look like it. Dropping down readily. 2,000 HP. But they walk out, and now Winter goes in. BKB, he gets doomed up. They use the Doom on... Oh, he has a Refresher Orb. He's going to use it on Lifestealer as soon as he comes in first. Insidious C gets sheeped up. No Epicenter, no Burrow Strike. Has to buy back. Now they go for the second Doom, but it's on the Lincoln Sphere. Now, crits onto Sharky. Chain Frost come through. It is not Aghanims up, so it will conclude eventually. And we do see Xiao Wei disrupts it there. Not sure about this movement from Orange. They just lost their Lich. The Winter's obviously sitting in the fountain. There's no way they can actually pursue, but they definitely don't want to leave this Roche behind. They don't want to give it up. They have their Epicenter. But can they make anything happen here? BKB and CD for 15 seconds on the Wraith King and even longer on the Doom. But it looks like they're not going to find the opening. Newbee just too cautious, scouting out long term. Sarah jumps in, maybe tried to snipe the Aegis instead. Gets sniped himself. What an unfortunate play by him. And immediately, the Aegis, the cheese, goes down. Newbee just mind gamed them by not taking Roche right then. Most teams just wouldn't care about the impending presence of the Sand King as a 2,000 HP Roche. But they leave the Pinata up for a little bit longer, and Mirana pays with her life.
Dire's bottom
Focus
tower
fire going down on the tier 3 tower.
Dire's structures
Fortification though going to come through and going to make it a little bit more difficult. Going in, Blink Stun into Sharky, no Chain Frost this time around, and they are in a desperate position now. They don't have to worry about the second Doom, but man, are they really up against the wall. Lifesteal's going to go for some damage here. Does not get shackled up, but the Rage is on CD, and just the stun, the lift, it's enough. Popping the buyback. Here's Insidious C with the Epicenter. Burrow Strike as well. Burrow Strike is stolen by the Rubik, though, and Wraith King finishes him off. He knights him, but at the same time is subject to decapitation.
Dire's bottom tower
From the one king that truly matters. House says, no sir, we will take your racks and maybe the game. At this
Dyer's
point, there's
bottom
not
barracks
much
are
that
under
Orange can do, and with this last kill on Sox with no buyback, that is going to be it. The GG is called, the great initiation, and the excellent snipes coming in from Newbee. A little bit of throw from the Mirana. That was just an unfortunate misplay. The mistiming went for something big. It didn't work out, and in the end, Orange lose the 4th consecutive game. What an incredible match between these two teams. At least Orange put up a fight. Like, I honestly don't think they should feel too bad about how this played out, because in the end, they might not have won the game, but they certainly showed that they can put up their dukes like the best of them. And this is Newbee. They are one of the teams that got invited to TI directly. So Orange, they can walk away from this match with at least some confidence and try to go into the next one here. That is going to be against Vici Gaming in a short while. I think we're going to have a bit of a changeover, though, because I am casting a best of 3 in 2 hours' time, and obviously best of 2s can run a little long, as we see by the clock up here. So this might be the last time you hear from me. If that is, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. But either way, it was a very, very fun match to cast, and it was my pleasure to do so. Shout out to BTS for giving me this opportunity, and shout out to you viewers for sticking with me through this one. Really, really fun game between Orange and Newbee, but Orange, they get shut out 2-0 for the second time this evening in WPC Ace. Newbee getting some nice points on the board, following up CIS's lead, and now Orange, they need to get a win. They want to win out of all this. They fought too hard not to get at least one, but Vici Gaming, a tough opponent. Anyways, that's going to conclude this match, but not the broadcast. We'll be bringing you guys another best of 2 in about 20 minutes time. Until then, sit back, get a drink, get some snacks, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Once again, I am Blaze, casting here for Beyond the Summit. If you want to look me up, I'm twitter.com/blazecasting. You can either follow me to show support and to, in the near future, get opportunity to see where I'm casting. And at the very least, if you want and you didn't enjoy the commentary, you can throw some constructive criticism my way, and that'd be appreciated as well. Anyways, cheers guys. Have a good night.